Welcome to Slow and Steady, the podcast where you get to follow along as we figure out how to build and run a SaaS. I'm Benedikt.
And I'm Brian. Each week we'll give you an honest peek into our lives as we work on our products and keep the lights on with consulting. Today is February 5th, and I am feeling good.
This is episode number 27, and I'm feeling determined.
Sorry for that pause. I saw February the 5th, and it does not feel that way.
Yeah, time flies.
What? It does. Yeah.
January is already over. Yeah.
I know. It doesn't feel that way. Hey, so we really need to update that because you're not keeping the lights on with consulting right now.
I'm keeping the lights on by depleting my savings.
Oh, gosh. Yes. We'll give you an honest peek as we deplete our savings and chase the dream of a SaaS.
Yeah, something like that.
There we go.
Yeah, let's see.
You're determined to deplete your savings, or rather, you're determined to not deplete your savings.
Yeah, definitely.
What has you feeling determined?
I just know earlier today I made a plan I actually had a discussion with my office mate, who's always keeping quiet when we record this podcast. Now he's waving. And we're basically discussing that it's so hard to get meaningful work done when you have like calls spread out through the day and like small interruptions here and there. And now I'm feeling determined to just and I already did that earlier today, go in my calendar and just like block out entire days for just focused work and make sure that there's no possibility to randomly move calls there or just like accept a new appointment or anything. Just like have dedicated days where I'm able to just focus on one thing and not let anything get between me and my work.
And your work. Yeah, for sure. Because you know what helped? Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Today was again one of those days where I initially had my mastermind call yesterday, but something came up, so we had to move it, and so it was today. And then afterwards, I had a couple calls with Jane about new designs, and eventually I realized, okay, in 2 hours we'll start recording the podcast, so there's no point in even starting to work on that big new thing.
Yeah.
And I ended up like doing a bunch of small things, which is also, still needs to get done, but
yeah, it can be helpful, but yeah,
still unsatisfying in terms of getting the big chunks of work done.
Yeah. You know what helped? What helped me, and I'm still like dialing it in, but in the whole, oh gosh, I've got this call that's going to interrupt this and da-da-da-da. The thing that ended up helping me there was just getting a Calendly account and just setting up, I don't do calls on, whatever it is. I'm not sure what it is off the top of my head, but like Tuesday and Fridays, no calls. Yeah. And then Mondays, only like 1 to 4 or 2 to 5, whatever you decide. Yeah. And then just, now being in the habit of being able to say, hey, would love to chat. Most convenient thing for both of us rather than the back and forth is just find a slot here. And that has helped me quit accidentally just throwing a call in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's like a practical workflow that you could think about, or
I already use Calendly for everything, like with kind of third parties, like demo calls and stuff like that. And they are all already limited to certain days.
Yep.
But then like all the other stuff that randomly comes up, hey, can we chat about this new design I'm working on? Or, hey, the mastermind thing, hey, I don't have time today. Yeah. Can we move to tomorrow? And stuff like that. And it's so easy to say yes, because like you look into the calendar and like, yeah, there's nothing there. Let's just move it. But what happens is you have, again, put a break into your workday that you have to take care of and be there for, and that just like it's way too easy. So I started just adding chunks of time in my reserving chunks of time in my calendar that reminds me, hey, don't put anything there. You decided to work on the in-app messaging stuff on that day during that time, and let it be that way.
Yeah.
Resist the temptation of putting yet another call in there.
I like that too. The proactive like not trying to think through this, but like actively setting those blocks out for like deeper work or like multiple hours focused on a particular project. Probably be a good idea to even do that like a couple of weeks out in advance. Like I have a lunch today with a friend who, I totally wanted to catch up with them. But I should have, it would have been just logistically, like it would be easier if that were not today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know? So yeah, those are the things that just hard to
hard to prioritize and keep clean.
Mm-hmm. What else is going on?
This has been a slow week because I did watch the Super Bowl last Monday night until like 4 a.m.
Oh my word. Yeah, that's a late game.
That's a very late game. Yeah. So, but I mean, it was fun. But
at least it was the fourth quarter was definitely worth staying awake for.
I was a bit surprised when the game was over and I looked at the watch and I said, "Oh, it's already 4 a.m." I didn't even realize. I mean, it already starts pretty late, but I had no trouble staying awake for this game, so it was good.
Yeah, it was a good one. Are you an American football fan? Do you follow it?
I follow it. Yeah, I don't have a team per se, but we watch almost every Sunday.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, that was a good one. Did you have any? I mean, did you have a team that you were pulling for in this one, or just looking for a good game?
I mean, I think I wouldn't have like any outcome would have been okay. I did root a little bit more for the Chiefs than I did for the 49ers. Yeah. So I'm happy with the result, but then again, it didn't look like this outcome for quite a while in the game. So it was a good one.
Like win probability for the 49ers was at like 95% or something with 7 minutes to go. It's just it was a good game.
Yeah.
This was the first game all season long that I had watched. And so I was just hoping for an exciting game and got it.
Totally I delivered on that front. But that meant that my Monday was a very slow one. And even Tuesday,
still recovering.
I was still recovering because I stayed up way too late for a regular work week. But by today's Wednesday, so it's a lot better, and I'm
back at it.
I'm back at it. I still feel a little bit tired, but it's at least manageable.
Yeah. So what are you working on now?
Today and the last couple of days, we worked on a bunch of smallish product updates. We finally shipped the message preview feature that I talked about a couple of weeks ago already. We had that behind the feature flag for a while now, and this week we basically polished the designs, made sure that scroll bars on Windows PCs are not as ugly and stuff like that, and rolled it out today, and we'll send out an announcement I think early next week.
Cool.
And then we shipped the first version of the sender profiles feature last week, also behind the feature flag, and that got polished this week and it's looking good now and got the Jane design stamp of approval. So I think we're going to roll out that one in 2 weeks or so, basically trying to launch a feature every week for the next 2 weeks. And other than that, we also working on our tax returns for 2019 that came via mail this week.
Yeah,
I still have to review it, but first looked like it is somewhat correct. There's no major mistakes in there, but I still have to double check everything.
Yeah,
and
lots of fun.
Then we are also trying to get the company set up on a little bit better feet. I mentioned it to you last week after our call that our current bank account situation wasn't great because officially only Claire was allowed to access our bank account, and we basically just piggybacked on it. But we were able to get a new bank account with proper ownership. So we were able to sign up with Mercury, and they allowed us to, well, for one, during the sign-up process, there was an invite link, so I was able to add like co-founders and send them an invite link, and they could like complete their address and up the social security number for Claire, or scan the passports for Jane and me, and put everything in there, and then send it off, and it got approved. So we now have a proper bank account with where we all are allowed to access stuff and manage stuff.
Excellent.
So that's quite
so
nice.
With Mercury, do you have to be do you still need to be a US based company? Userlist is a US based, like a legally US based company.
Yeah, Userlist is a legally US based company. I'm not entirely sure if they allow companies from outside the US. I'm not, to be honest, didn't really look into this because it wasn't a requirement. Yeah. But what was really nice with them, that they allowed like for international founders and a way to
made it really easy for everybody to have access to the bank.
Yeah, account. For everyone to have access, sure. And for like, there are the know your customer laws and stuff like that. And with almost every other setup, it was near impossible to get our identities verified with the bank. Like when we initially tried to set up a bank account, one of the banks wanted us to either fly over and be there in person, which wasn't an option back then because like Jane was pregnant. And the other option that they said was, and if you can't come in person, then it's okay, just mail your identity card and your passport over the Atlantic. And
that is entirely reasonable.
And then we'll take care of it, and then we'll send it back. And I'm like, no, probably not.
Probably not.
But this, like, with Mercury, so got set up without going there in person, and it was okay to just upload scanned documents and stuff like that. And that was really refreshing and nice.
Very nice. So just like a bit of admin, another step of admin kind of lined up and cleaned up a bit.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, exactly. And in the same process, we're also like, we have a virtual mailbox or a real mailbox that just like receives mail and then scans it.
Yeah.
And also same situation right now. It's only Claire who's an official owner of that account. And now we're trying to get both Jane and me in there as well, which is also an elaborate process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Is there a service on the virtual mailbox side of things that you can recommend yet?
We're using Anytime Mailbox. Okay. And I think it's just an interesting model, I guess. It's like a two-sided marketplace. They provide the tooling, and then you have like third-party providers who sign up with them and receive the mail and scan stuff.
Huh.
And it's like a franchise model or whatever.
That's pretty fascinating.
And it works well enough. Like they receive the mail, and then you get a notification, and then you can decide if you want to forward it or open and scan it. And they even do that with packages. So we want, like, after we set it up a year ago, we sent Claire a user list mug, like some merch, just to test the process, and it was surprisingly smooth.
Nice, funny.
But they also like to open it. They also like need a notarized form that proves that you're actually a real person and have a proper address somewhere else, and also need to provide like 2 forms of ID. And now we're in the process of figuring that out for both Jane and me with the international situation.
Okay.
So that will be interesting.
Good luck there. Keep us posted.
Yeah, we'll do. What's new with you?
Let's see. So I got a notification, I think I got the first one probably like 30 days ago. And then another one, with 7 days, and then one day that featureaudit.com is about to expire. So the first notice was like, oh yeah, okay. This is kind of a decision point. It's like the domain's getting ready to expire. I can just let it go or just re-up it. So I kind of sat on it for a little bit, and then finally was like, yeah, it's time to like pass it on, or just shut it down. And so I just hit up the Mega Maker Slack group and just, mention like, hey, ready to hand this over. If nobody's interested, I'll probably just shut it down. But anybody curious? And Dominic Saint-Pierre, who he and I last summer were actually talking about like, is there like opportunity for partnership here? How much time would you, Dominic, be willing to, pitch in? And is there like, it's basically like, can we create a partnership here where you're able to work on pieces of the app that I'm not? And is that something we'd be interested in for a dozen different reasons? Like, timing just doesn't make any sense right now. But when I posted that on Mega Maker, he reached back out like right away and was like, hey, I'm still interested in Feature Audit. So we worked something out like where for a small sum, he's taken it over from me, with like a handshake agreement to, retain like some percentage of ownership in exchange for, X number of calls and emails, and, which is like awesome with me. I'm completely, I totally think that there's definitely like, there's something there. So would love to, continue to just see where it goes and offer some thoughts and, product ideas, or product like thoughts along the way. So I've handed the repo over to him. Domains are transferred. Mailing list stuff is being handed over, segment, authentication and everything like that. And so he's taking it and running with it. So that feels really good, actually. So that was a good, felt like a good decision point.
Does it feel good that you have that is no longer on your plate and you're basically done with it, or does it feel good?
Yeah.
Or it's also like the fact that someone else is carrying torch now and like making progress on it. Is that also
totally? That's the bigger part of it. Is like, in either way, like if he goes for it and like, oh man, yeah, there's just nothing there, then that'll be validating and like, okay, cool. Or if he does something with it, then it'll be like, yes, sweet, like it didn't just die.
Yeah.
So either way, it feels much better than just deleting the repo and letting the domain name expire. Yeah,
definitely.
And so, I'm hopeful that he's able to find some traction and feel like it was a good move on his part as well.
Yeah. Did you consider like selling it on like 1kprojects.com or something like that?
Yeah, that was my next. I was like, I think because you mentioned that. And that would have been the next thing that I would have at least given, a small amount of time to. But it's truly like as soon as Dominic reached out, and because we had, talked, several times before, it was just like an immediate, oh, okay, yeah, this makes the most sense. I'm not going to take any more time like trying to find the most optimal outcome. This is great. This is perfect. All right, cool. Let's do it.
Awesome.
So, yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hopefully so. I mean, hope it's works out for him.
Yeah, definitely.
The other thing from last week is I published this article on Project Headlamp about the Joel test for remote teams. And this had come up in like several different conversations that I was having with somebody from Full Story, came up again with somebody that I know at GitLab, and then you mentioned it just kind of, I forget even how the conversation was going between us in Slack, and you were like, yeah, like what about like something like a Joel test for remote teams? It's like, okay, this is like this keeps coming up. Basically, I mean, chances are very high anybody listening to this knows that the Joel test is like 12 yes or no questions that software teams can ask themselves and, determine like what's your quality, like are you using source control or version control, yes or no, et cetera, et cetera. And so so I wrote this, kind of pulled together from all of like the different research conversations I've been having, and then shared it with handful of the people who've been on the Bright and Early podcast. Got some thumbs up from them. Shared it with a couple of other people. Like, yeah, this is really good. And people started sharing it around internally at their companies. So I published it, and we'll see. It feels like a really good kind of starting point for a bunch of other thinking and writing that I want to do. So thanks to you also for the encouragement.
No need to thank me. You came up with this on your own, I guess.
It was further like, okay, yeah, let's do it this way. This is, I will also say, like, I've been kind of wondering what's going to be the focus or the title or whatever for the attendee talk for MicroConf that I want to put together and submit. And I definitely think it's the Joel test for remote teams. And building a talk around this, I think will be.
I think that would be a good one.
I'm going to start. Yeah. It's got a nice hook, super actionable. I feel super confident in like everything that's on it. Very easy, like for me to defend and like expound upon. So
absolutely
feeling good there.
Do you have any plans of promoting it? Like the post?
For sure. Yeah. I want to, I'm trying to think like the best way to, make it even more useful or actionable. It's a bit lengthy. I mean, it's not sure how many, like probably 800 words. I mean, it's like 12-minute read. And so for people who get to the first, bulleted list, like, okay, this is helpful. And then, oh, wow, this is a lot to read. Is there something, it's trying to think of something to do to it that adds some more value and is like immediately helpful, makes it more shareable. Because I definitely want to promote it and try to like attract some, awareness and attention over to Headlamp through it. Like the resource list that has, continued to get shared. And so, I think that'll be next for me.
I think your approach there is good to like, don't have a lot of intro and then just share the 12 questions and then elaborate on each question a little bit, because some people might get all the questions and immediately understand what this is like talking about. Mm-hmm. But then you can just like, if you want some more clarification on one of those, you can just like scroll down and pick like the one you're interested in and just read that section. I think in that form, it works pretty well.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. I mean, that's, those are the things for me. I think that, well, actually I'll say like, still getting some good like feedback on the remote work, episodes on Bright and Early. One of them, put me in touch with another like pretty influential person in like the whole remote work sphere right now, which actually might lead to some sort of partnership around consulting and workshops. So I'm not going to say, I can't say too much more about that right now, other than like that would be a pretty big, that would feel like good momentum and a good win. So hopefully I'll have some updates on that soon. And yeah, that's pretty much what I've got.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
I really like that format. I feel like this could be like, if this gets some traction, this could be big. Like just the 12 questions. I think that's smart.
Yeah, I hope so. I have been wondering about like, is there some value just in the diagnosis phase? Like, I definitely feel like it with what that article does, or with any conversation I could have right now with a leader of a remote team, talking through those things with some degree of like conversations with employees as well, to be able to diagnose, here, this is where your problems lie. I don't have any like an additional solution to offer in terms of like a thing that you should install or some sort of automated, whatever, other than like recommendations for what you should do at each and every step. And I'm just wondering if there's some sort of, if there's an additional offering to build around the diagnosis, or if like does that stop just like a little bit too short? So, because I would say that's the other thing that's kind of rattling around in my head right now.
I have a hard time thinking of having like 10 seconds to think about it. I can't come up with anything else right now. But I was wondering if there's a way to basically add offerings to each of the questions. So in case someone answers like, okay, no, we don't do this, is there something you can offer in terms of getting them to a yes, we do this? Like, for example, one thing that comes up is the company handbook. Is there maybe a templated thing you could offer and then provide for like just have an outline, and then maybe for each bullet point on there offer like 3 possible rules, solutions, guidelines that people then can like mix and match and basically create an employee handbook for themselves with relatively short amount of effort. Maybe that's interesting. But
that would be a really helpful thing to add to it, like action steps to get to yes under each of those bullets. Cool. Let's see, man. What else for you? You've got a couple other notes here.
I think the other important thing is I bought my plane tickets to MicroConf to Minneapolis. So, and they are not refundable. So now I have to go.
Completely committed now.
Now I'm completely committed. Yeah.
That's gonna be here before we know it.
Yeah, it's not that far away.
Any is there any like, I don't know, if milestone or goal or anything like that you're hoping to have done or like ready for user list to be able to talk about or share and promote while you're at MicroConf?
Not entirely sure about that, but it's a good thing to think about. One thing that should be out by then, like that is definitely out by then, is the in-app messages. Yeah, because we set a launch date, which I'm not going to share, but we have something in our calendars by when we want to have this thing out the door, and that's well before MicroConf, so that should be out there, definitely.
So that could be a really good thing to have it out well in advance, maybe a round or 2 of iterations.
Yeah, that's the plan.
It could potentially be a nice talking point.
Yeah, like
along the way.
How it took us a year to build a feature.
Hey, man. Some things are hard.
Yeah, some things are definitely hard, just especially.
Yeah. Although, I mean, I guess Ryan Singer would have just started ripping out scope along the way.
Yeah, but like, there's not much else to rip out at this point.
What else? Yeah. I mean, I do think that those like exceptions are what makes those things, or those kinds of frameworks, really interesting. Is when you have something like, no, okay, seriously, in this situation, how would you have handled this, or what? Yeah,
but like, other than that, I don't think I have anything else to share this week.
Cool. Oh, my birthday party is on Friday. My birthday was like January 13th. But the other thing that's taken up a little bit of my headspace this week, over the past couple weeks, is that my birthday party is going to be is like a miniature TEDx event. I was like, what would I do for my 40th birthday party that will be that'll make it kind of special or like representative of what I would want to celebrate? And I was like, oh, what if everybody I invite them, if you want to put together a short little TED talk. And so rather than just mingling around, in the living room, we got a space with a stage and a couple TVs behind. And so 6 of my friends and myself will be presenting miniature little TEDx talks to a batch of our friends. So pulling together, wrangling my friends to send me their slides and and to be sure that they're ready to go has been the other thing going on for me this week.
That's an interesting party format. Please tell me how that goes.
I will. I'll tell you next week.
Because if you'd invite me for this, I'd probably give a talk that you'd regret afterwards.
Probably not. What would your try me?
I don't know. We don't know each other that well yet, but if I was a long-term friend of you, I'd dig out all the old photos and stuff like that. And all the embarrassing stories from your childhood.
Yeah. That my strategy to mitigate against that was, telling my friends, hey, I want to be sure that I can introduce your talk and set you up. So be sure that you send me your slides and your title in advance so that nobody completely pranks me and just shares all my embarrassing photos and dumb stories.
Well, let me know how that did work out.
Yeah, right. For all I know, my dear wife is probably scheming behind my back, and there will not be any talks, just a bunch of embarrassing photos. Everybody was in on it. No, but it'll be fun.
It's a fun idea. It's definitely something else.
Right. Yes. Yeah. If nothing else, it'll give people something to talk about. All right. Yeah, I got nothing else.
Yeah.
Show notes you? All right. Show notes at slowandsteadypodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter at slowsteadypod.
And see you next week, or talk to you next week.
Yep. Later.
Bye.